Chef Marie was known for her culinary brilliance and her ability to create dishes that delighted everyone. She was a local hit, being featured on local media stations, and even had a short spot on a nationally broadcast cooking show for a season. Life was good for Marie. She had offers from five-star international hotel chains, televised cooking shows, and even wealthy personalities inquiring about her interest in serving as a personal chef. But Marie knew what she wanted. She knew what made her happy. But as life tends to unfold, all is not favourable. Marie heard a faint whisper while preparing meals late at night in her restaurant's kitchen. "Marie, your food is poisoned," it said. Startled, she looked around, but the kitchen was empty. She tried to ignore it, but the voice quietly persisted. Marie made rounds in the kitchen, checking every corner, as the kitchen was quite large to accommodate her substantial staff on busy days. She even checked the freezer, just to see if someone had decided to play a prank on her. But she saw no one. So she proceeded to get back to work so that she could finish up and head home. In less than a few minutes, Marie began to feel a cold presence in the kitchen, especially near the stove where she cooked. This was notable given that the stove, though vented, produced a significant amount of heat within 10 feet of the burners. Marie began to feel fear creeping upon her. The whispers continued, suggesting that her dishes were cursed. "You will harm them all," they taunted. This made Marie visibly upset and jumpy. What was really going on? Marie became obsessed with perfecting her recipes after closing hours, spending hours in the kitchen alone. She had been planning new menus and delights for weeks and wanted to ensure that she had her routines down to a science. But she started seeing ghostly figures in the restaurant, their faces filled with accusation and pain. The whispers grew louder, haunting her every step. Years ago, Marie had prepared a dish that caused a severe allergic reaction in a customer, leading to their death. She still remembers the commotion when one of her servers burst through the kitchen doors in a panic. She ran out to the dining floor to see a man slumped over the table, crowded by his family. Even his children looked on in horror, and Marie couldn't get that scene out of her mind. The memory of that incident had always haunted her, but now it seemed to blend with her current fears, making her question both her professional abilities and her sanity. Desperate, Marie confided in her staff and even talked to a therapist, but no one really seemed to take the claims of whispers and ghosts seriously. Instead, they would nod patiently as she described her experience, brushing over her accounts and reassuring her that she was just imagining things. They suggested she was just under stress and needed a break. Her family worried about her state of mind, urging her to take some time off. This angered Marie. She knew what she saw, and no one was going to convince her otherwise. The whispers became more insistent. "You cannot escape your guilt," they cried. "You killed him! Your negligence is the reason he is dead." Marie started seeing the ghostly figures more frequently, their spectral forms following her everywhere. The cold presence became unbearable, chilling her to the bone. Her cooking began to suffer. She became paranoid and grumpy, seeing ghostly figures in the shadows, even during working hours when the staff were still present, but she dared not speak of it again. She couldn't tell what was real and what was a figment of her tortured mind. She started doubting her sanity, wondering if she was truly losing her grip on reality. One night, as she was alone in the kitchen, the whispers became a roar. "You will join us, Marie," they demanded. "Death awaits you, Marie." She saw the ghost of the customer who had died, his face twisted in pain and agony. Marie screamed, but no one was around to comfort her. Marie ran out of the restaurant, desperate to escape the voice and the ghosts. She drove recklessly, tears streaming down her face. She locked herself in her house and fell to her knees, begging for it to stop. The whispers turned into a furious hiss, like a tornado on a path of destruction. "You cannot escape us," they roared. "How dare you run from us? You cannot escape your guilt, Marie. You are responsible." Marie tried to run to a closet or bathroom, but her knees became weak and she fell to the carpet and threw her hands over her ears, begging for mercy. She felt the room shaking. It seemed the storm was inside her house. The curtains were whipping in the wind and lightning struck again and again. All Marie could do was cower and sob. She was shaking in fear. This went on for what seemed like eternity until Marie awoke in a flurry. How much time had passed? Where had the wind and the lightning gone? All was silent. Marie must have passed out. She slowly stood up and turned on a hall light. As she looked around, nothing seemed to be out of place. There was no sign of a windstorm, no sign of a storm having passed outside. What had happened? Over the next few weeks, Marie realized that her restaurant had a dark history with several unexplained deaths and accidents in the kitchen. She was not the first owner, and no one had shared the dark history with her until she began to ask around. What had happened in that restaurant? What had all this transpired? Whatever had happened had left evil in its wake. There was something evil lurking in the kitchen, something that fed on fear. But for some reason, it seemed Marie was the only victim it haunted. How long would this continue? Would it get worse? Was this all an omen of much worse to come? Time would only tell. And you, my friend, have you ever heard whispers in the silence of an empty room? Have you ever felt a cold presence that chills you to the bone? You're not alone in your fear. Stay vigilant. Keep your head on a swivel. You never know what may be lurking in the dark. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and follow us for more. Join us on TikTok and YouTube for more Chilling Chronicles. If you dare,